the Billies and the Susies and the Jacksons and all these other kids, because we need parents to get up there. So and even though I know I get up there just like you do now, right? Mm-hmm. And there's days that I had a really hard day.
And it's hard to get up there and be positive.
It's hard to get up there but I also know that it helps me because it reminds me,
right?
And also I know there's that parent in that audience that was like me, sitting there really scared and not knowing where to turn. And we're not perfect by any means. We definitely have those days. But when your daughter says "Mama" now, you hold on to that, because if she can say "Mama," she can do anything. Yeah. Because she's already defied all the odds.
Right.
So I'm excited to see what Grace is going to be one day.
Oh, I know. I'm so excited for next year when she turns 13. And we had a lot of media this year wanting to come and do interviews. They always want to come around her birthday to say, she's still alive and how's she doing. And this year I declined interviews. And I said, you know what? No interviews this year, because I'm going to make all of you wait until next year. Because next year, not only is it her 13th birthday where she's a teenager, but it's 10 years from when you all were reporting that Grace was going to die. Yeah. And I need people to understand that in our country, doctors, when you read their actual certificates that they get from medical school, it says practicing medicine. Yeah. That's all they're doing is practicing medicine. Nobody has the right. Nobody, whether they're a physician or whether they're a priest, whether they're, somebody in your family has the right to tell you that your child will be a certain way, because we don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. I didn't know what was going to happen with Grace. And people and parents, especially parents, need to acknowledge and understand that, the physicians are practicing medicine. Mm-hmm. And what they say to you may be correct, but it also may be wrong. Mm-hmm. So hold on to the fact that maybe they're wrong about something, and also just remember that, they're human beings at the end of the day, that, and surround yourself by people that think outside the box, extraordinary physicians, and there's so many out there now, more than when I first started this. I didn't have anybody. Every single physician that I had dealt with had told me to take Grace home and let her die. And my brother is a physician, and I looked at doctors, and you put them way up here, mm-hmm. but at the end of the day, you should put your child way up there, mm-hmm. and everybody that's telling you what to do way down here, and go with your gut instinct, because
mommies know.
They do, mm-hmm. And just surround yourself by people that believe in hope and have that change. And even if they disagree, I mean, I have many still doctors that, Grace still has to deal with her neurologist. We still have her genetics team. I still have to listen that, hold on to every day you have, because Grace, technically she can't be cured from her disease. It's terminal. Mm-hmm. And I just look at them and say, thank you. I know I have to do these yearly checkups, but Grace will be that kid that proves you're wrong. Mm-hmm. And hopefully now when you go back to the next patient, you won't think so quickly to say, take your child home and let them die. That maybe you'll remember Gracie in the back of your head and see where she's at today and say, you know what? We don't know what's going to happen to your child. No, everybody's going to die at some point. We don't know. But, there are things out there that you can try. And, this is what we have for you in conventional medicine. But there are other things that you can try.
Wow. I'm just blown away by you. And each time I see you at many conferences. And each time you walk by, it's like, I just feel like you have this radiance about you. And I think every time I see you...
looks so great right now. I'm having black mascara rolling down my face.
No, I mean, but it's like, I think every time I see you, I'm like, you look beautiful, because I really feel that. I really feel that, regardless if you believe in God or what you believe in, you are given, we've heard the saying, we're not given more than we can handle, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know I've laughed at that as well. I'm like, really? Yeah. Really? And when I hear your story, I'm like, really? Really? But yet you still get up. You still put on your clothes. You still eat your breakfast. You still go on, but you're doing it.
Right. And you have to. Yeah. What choice do you have? Because I look at it like there's nobody else that's going to take better care of my kids than me.
Yeah.
And I when I chose to have a family, I chose basically that my life pretty much was over in the sense that I couldn't just think about myself any longer, and that I had two little tiny human beings that I was responsible for, mm-hmm. good or bad. Yeah. That you're responsible for them. And and I tell parents, because they see me a lot at the conferences where I'm speaking, and I'm always positive, but I always want to remind them that I cry just like they do. Yeah. I cry just like they do, and I have my bad days, and there's been days where Grace has not done well, and I've had to get on that stage, and I've had to put on a face, because I know that all the good that I have had with Grace
it outweighs,
could carry to these people, and I think that keeps me going. I get so many letters and emails from parents across the country that say, thank you so much. You inspired me to do something. And that's really, Grace keeps me going, and these parents keep me going.
And now you're doing a job that I imagine is your dream job.
Yeah. I love talking to parents. I love training the physicians and getting them involved in hyperbarics, but I will take talking to two parents over, 100 physicians, because at the end of the day, it's the parents that are going to make the decisions for their children, whether to move forward or whether to let them go. So if I can reach two parents compared to 100 physicians, I would do that, because I've been to many, many funerals of little kids, and I've been asked to speak at more eulogies than I could count and would want to. And if Grace's story can move a parent away from that end and into the future with hope, then I will take that any day.
Absolutely. What's something that you want parents to know, I guess, about you, and maybe something that if they're having that day, what could you tell them?
I would say that when you're having one of those rough days, and I say this a lot, and I mean it, and many parents take me up on it. If you don't have anybody to talk to, call me. My number's out there, my email's out there. I'm very easily accessible. I try to answer, especially parents' emails, within 24 to 48 hours, depending on where I'm traveling. And we'll get you out of that funk to get you to move forward. I'll hook you up with other parents in your area. But when you're just having a bad day, cry. Let it all out. Cry. But then I don't travel anywhere without two pictures, one of Lily and one of Grace. And when I'm having a bad day with Grace, I just look at the picture and I think, okay, Shannon, you can have this picture and you can cry and you can not do anything about it, and what I'll be holding in my hand is an obituary. Or I can take this picture in my mind and say, okay, we're having a bad day. Grace is aggressive. Grace has gone back to not having normal stools. But you know what? The next day I pick up, I talk to her physicians. I'm like, what can we tweak? What do we need to do? But the most important thing that they need to do is not shut themselves off, not feel sorry for themselves, but allow themselves to cry. I think that when you release that, it just empowers you then to do more. In anything in life, not just when we're dealing with this. Like when I'm, frustrated with anybody in my family, or if I'm arguing with my brother, whatever, it's good just to cry, let it out, and then you're like, oh, okay, now I can go on, and there's so many people that have not allowed themselves to cry. And I think it's because with autism, our kids look so normal that I think that you don't feel like you have a right. And I just think that's so wrong, because you have every right to feel sad, because you don't have that white picket fence. You don't have those kids that are potty trained, or that, can go to a restaurant and eat regular food. All those little things were taken away from you, and you have such a right to feel sad about that and to allow that to happen, because the worst thing you could do is not allow yourself to feel that grief, because you're going to hold it in, and that is actually going to hold you back from pushing forward with your children.
And being able to see with clear eyes.
Yep.
Oh, I am just so grateful that you took this time to talk with us.
Well, thanks for having me.
And if people want to get a hold of you, or they want to find out about the centers you guys have, how can they find you?
They can go to ihausa.org, is the International Hyperbaric Association. My email is S and then my last name KENITZ @ihausa.org, and the clinics are the Integrative Hyperbaric Clinics, a place of grace. So you just Google that, and the websites are www.wisconsinhyperbarics.com and californiahyperbarics.com.
Well, thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for having me.
It was so wonderful to have you, and thanks for inspiring me so many years ago, because you got me on my path. Honestly, that conference kicked my butt. It was,
and I have to say, Autism One was that was my first conference speaking, and it was, and I believe I brought Grace to that conference, and for one of the meetings, and I was very nervous about that, but it was one of those things that I needed parents to see what hyperbarics did. When you visually see. When you watch that, were you there when the movie came on about Grace, and seeing her on life support and seeing her do struggle, seeing her get into her chamber every day, and then doing hyperbarics and then being where she's at, I thought that's so much more powerful. And then just at this recent autism one, she was there when I hosted the Aid for Autism project, and nobody knew that she was coming, and I was a surprise, and I just decided, since we're so local and she didn't have to fly, I had her therapist bring her. And then when I said I had a special guest, and she walked, in, because the last time I had her on stage, she was still in her wheelchair, where this time, she actually walked, and just seeing the people stand up, and the moms crying because they physically got to see that this isn't just somebody's story, that this is a real person, and this is her. This is the little girl you just saw on life support is now standing in front of you and clapping as they were clapping, and the power of what hyperbarics can do. So
you keep on doing what you're doing.
Oh, you too. You too. And thanks so much for having me and for doing everything that you do. So.
Well, because, it's because of our kiddos, right?
Yes, it is.
Well, thanks to everybody who's watching. And again, make sure to go to her websites. Honestly, her story is so powerful. If you have a family member that's sitting, that maybe doesn't understand it, and you're sitting home watching this, give this link to them. Really, give this link. Give this story. Because honestly, if somebody, like you, can get up and do this, we all can do this. Every single, and there's been somebody before you, I'm sure, that got up and did this. If you guys want to be a guest on the show, or you want more information about this show, please email us at ksg@autismapproved.com. Also, if you want to follow us on Twitter, you can go to Selby Gonzalez, or on Facebook at Kristin Selby Gonzalez. I'd like to thank Enzymedica for sponsoring this show, and I'd like to thank all of you guys for allowing us to bring hope into your homes this week. Thanks again, everyone. Bye.
Thank you for joining us for Autism Approved with Kristin Selby Gonzalez. Please join us next week for another episode brought to you by Enzymedica.